Hi there, I'm Tom Toney, founder of Quest Rocket, and in this video I want to talk to you about the novels that are a part of the character component of our Quest Rocket model. This is the fuel of leadership, character. And so I want to talk to you about these novels, how they work, and kind of the best approach for using them. Now, the novels do sit as a part of a whole package that is the character piece of the Quest Rocket curriculum. And so they do work in conjunction, for example, with our Quest journal and also with the Quest teacher and leaders manual, parent manual. But they also can stand alone, and that's how we've designed it. We've done it that way on purpose, so that if you say, you know what, I just want to jump in and grab one book, jump in, and your kids are going to start learning some great leadership principles. Now, specifically in these books, we're going to talk about character. For example, House on Dreary Drive talks about teamwork, how to work together. We'll take them through the story of some of the Quest kids as they have a competition in racing bikes and so on, and different teams that are racing. And through the process of time, they end up actually having to work together to do some repairs to an old house at the end of their street. It's a great story. It's called The House on Dreary Drive. Talks about teamwork and walks your kids through all the ins and outs of how to be a strong team player, how to pull the best out of others, how to be a great leader, and how to work together. With the ride, we're going to read a story about a couple young kids who go past the what their parents have said they can and cannot do, places they can go and ride their bikes and so on. And as a result, they get themselves into a little bit of trouble. And it's their journey of walking through that process of all the signs that they've driven past, walked past, that they haven't noticed, that we're speaking to them, signs of authority that we're speaking into their life and trying to keep them from this bad situation that they just basically ignored, they didn't recognize. And so this book is all about recognizing authority and then how to respect and respond to that authority. So there'll be a lot of levels that we'll deal with in this book on that topic. So your kids are going to learn that from the front part and then the lessons in the back of the book. And then finally, there is the Grand Galleria, which talks about excellence. In this, there is a summer program, a summer painting program that some of these kids are a part of, and some of them are taking it seriously, and some of them are not giving their best. And so we talk about that. How do we give our best? And we watch the results of great effort versus mediocre effort and the consequences of that. And so we kind of deal with those topics then on that level. How do we make sure we're pulling the best out of ourselves? This attitude of excellence. And so that's what's going to happen in this book, and then the lessons that go with that, obviously, in the back of the book. So let me share with you real quickly a way that you can approach using these books to your advantage with your students. A couple things. Number one, if you have a younger student, and by the way, these books are great read alouds for kids who are, first grade, kindergarten, first grade, second grade. They may not completely understand all the principles that are being talked about in the books, but they are building up a reservoir of the principles. So later on, they will get it. It will make sense for them. So these are great read alouds for the younger students. And so that's one of the ways that we recommend using it. If you have younger students, take it every night, read a chapter, talked about what was in the chapter, and reading comprehension, and they're getting the story and the principles at the same time. If you have older students, 4th, 5th, 6th grade students, that's really the target age range for these books. They'll really relate to the characters in these stories. And so what we recommend is that they read a chapter per week. They're meant to go throughout the school year, the whole set. So if you read all 3 books throughout the school year, you'll get through all 3 about the same time as school is happening. The chapters are short. They're short reads, but that's on purpose. But if you have them read a chapter a week, it may feel like, oh man, my kid could read through this in an evening. And that's absolutely true. They could, but it's also not the point. The point is for them to absorb what's going on with the characters and to reflect on how that might also be happening in their own lives. And so we highly recommend that you take your time reading these books. Later on, once they've been through that process, then they can read it as many times as they would like, as quickly as they would like. But for now, let's take our time. Let's go through it. We recommend about a chapter a week. If you're doing the journals, coincides with the journal. If you're doing the leadership lesson plans from the leaders, the parents' books, also coincides. But if they're standing alone, I would recommend about a chapter a week. It's also going to build anticipation. That's what we find. The kids look forward to coming back and seeing what happens next. And they have to wait for it. It's building patience. And so it's a great way to approach that. If this is a summer reading plan, again, just as with the journals, you can choose your time frame, see how the chapters lay out, and decide accordingly in terms of frequency. As with all of our products, we highly recommend that you as a parent or a leader engage in the conversation. That's what a part of what these are meant to do, is to create a leadership conversation for our kids. So as they go through and they read about these characters in the different books, they're going to begin to relate. They're going to begin to see themselves in some of these characters. And that's one of the questions you can ask. So who do you really relate to in this story, and why do you relate to them? What was their attitude? How did they make decisions, and so on? How does that relate to you? Can you see yourself making decisions that way? What adjustments do you feel like they could have made? How about you? What adjustments could you make? And so it becomes an incredible tool for teaching the principles that we're trying to lay out, for example, in this book, the principles of excellence, giving your best and not cutting corners, but doing the best that you can with the resources you have. And so, again, pace is really important, but you have to adjust that to what you have available. If you have a week and you want them to get through the book, then by all means, go through the book. The biggest thing is that we feel like you take the time to come back, circle back on the conversation and help them really apply the principles in everyday life. And so the book is set up. The first 4 chapters are the story. The second 4 chapters are the lessons that go with the story. There are, in the back part of the book, there are quizzes that we call it the friend quiz, that they can give a friend, questions that they can ask a friend that have to do with the topic they've been learning. For example, question number 1, would you rather have 20 broken marbles or 5 perfect marbles? And as they read through the story, they'll understand why that question makes sense. So now they're asking their friend that, and they're getting kind of their friend's perspective on the idea of excellence. And there's always a little get it, kind of a humorous joke that they can also share with their friends. Our kids love to do riddles and those kinds of things. And so this kind of has some riddles, things that they can use for conversation starters with their friends as well. So the back part of the book are lessons along with those questions and quizzes that speak to the front part of the book, where they're learning the topic and the concepts through the story of the adventures of the KUEST Kids. And so those are our novels. If you have questions about that, please comment below. We'll be glad to get back to you and try to answer any question that we can. But those are the novels that go with the character component of the KUEST Rocket, the fuel of character. And if you have any questions, let us know. Thank you for being a part of KUEST Rocket. For KUEST Rocket, I'm Tom Toney.